I just want to say thank you guys so much for coming to this session today. It's the first of its kind that we've had here at the TMA conferences. My name is Laurie Boyer, and I'm one of the members of the Board of Directors, and I'm honored to be here working with this lovely panel of ladies that have really made a big difference in our myositis awareness this year. So just to kind of let you know, I'm going to give you a brief overview of these ladies so you can kind of get to know them a little bit better. Know their story a little bit, and then after that, then I will provide some questions for them to answer, talking about their advocacy and their role in the campaign this year. It's really just they have diverse experience, and it's really a great opportunity for you to get to, hey, that's an idea, maybe that's something I want to, take part in. Maybe that's something that I can do in my community. Just things that are helpful to you as you battle myositis, diseases on a daily basis. Okay. So first off, we have Yvonne Bernard. She is from Ozone Park, Queens, New York, actually where I was born. So she was diagnosed with polymyositis in 2007, and this year she served on the Patient Advisory Council for TMA's Myositis Awareness Month Women of Color campaign. So thank you, Yvonne, for being here. Then we have Linda Shaw over there. If you don't mind raising your hand, Miss Linda. She spent her career in the area of social services, community relations, and education. She's currently serving as engagement officer for a nonprofit organization. In 2015, Linda became the caregiver for her husband, Sylvester, who was diagnosed with inclusion body myositis. Sylvester died in 2016. Linda then attended her first TMA patient conference in 2017. She is presently serving on TMA's Myositis Patient Engagement Network and the Patient Advisory Council for TMA's Myositis Awareness Month Women of Color campaign. And Linda is a Missouri, Illinois support group leader. So thank you so much, Linda, for being here today. All right, we have Elisa Glass right here. She was diagnosed with dermatomyositis in 2016. Prior to her diagnosis, she was a professor specializing in the field of drug and alcohol abuse. She also owned and operated MITS, LLC, which was a company designed to help members in need within the community with a focus on homeless veterans. She now uses the skills she developed prior to her illness to educate the public about myositis. She served on the Patient Advisory Council for TMA's Myositis Awareness Month Women of Color campaign. Thank you very much for being here. We have Kanaya Gunter over here. She lives in Norfolk, Virginia. She was diagnosed with dermatomyositis with NXP2 positive anti-MJ in 2007. She has shared her story in several publications, including the Health Journal and the Final Call. She is a strong spokesperson for TMA, serving as a support group leader and on the Patient Advisory Council for TMA's Myositis Awareness Month Women of Color campaign. Thank you so much. Holly Jones. Holly Jones has had polymyositis with ILD since she was 19 years old. She has a weekly radio talk show in Cypress, Texas, where she engages listeners with her journey with myositis every week during the month of May. Holly served on the Patient Advisory Council for TMA's Women of Color campaign. Thank you so much for being here. Sharon Robinson Mills lives in Jamaica, New York. She was diagnosed with dermatomyositis in 2004 after 8 months of symptoms. This year, she was honored to join TMA's Patient Advisory Council to help raise awareness of myositis in women of color. During Myositis Awareness Month, she completed a 7-day swim challenge to raise awareness of the importance of aquatic movement for those with and to raise funds for TMA. So we're looking forward to hearing more about that. Then we have Dale Scott, and she has served on the TMA Board of Directors, the Myositis Patient Engagement Network, and the Patient Advisory Council for TMA's Myositis Awareness Month Women of Color campaign. She also, it was a first this year, she went with TMA to Capitol Hill as part of the Rare Disease Week in Washington, D.C. And she is the TMA support group leader for Central Pennsylvania. Thank you. Darlene Ruther Shelton is a Nashville, Tennessee resident with a passion for helping people. When she was diagnosed in 2013 with polymyositis after having signs and symptoms for most of her life, she did not let that stop her. Instead, Darlene reached out to TMA. This year, she served on the Patient Advisory Council for TMA's Myositis Awareness Month Women of Color campaign. During Myositis Awareness Month, she held a Myositis Awareness event at the local library and persuaded Mayor David Briley to recognize the month of May as Myositis Awareness Month by proclamation. Awesome job. Thank you, Darlene. And last but not least, we have Portia Wilson. She is my Florida friend here, right? She resides in Tampa. She was diagnosed with polymyositis in 2015. And as a side effect of medications that Portia was placed on, she noticed that she was having very brittle hair and it was breaking a lot. So she decided to put her cosmetology, nursing, and cooking skills to work, and she became the co-owner of Black Mane Hair Solutions, which is a hair care line for African American women. She served as a member of the Patient Advisory Council for TMA's Women of Color campaign as well. So thank you so much for being here. All right, ladies. So first and foremost, as you've heard, this is a great group of women who have done everything from lobbying on Capitol Hill to finding there to be an issue at hand through medications and coming up with a solution to try and solve that for people. So some of the things we want to know is we're going to go around and just kind of ask. We could start over here with Ms. Darlene. And I wanted to know if we could take about 2 to 3 minutes a person. Why was it important to you to be part of the Women of Color campaign?
It was very important. It was very important for me to be a part of it so that not only to educate myself to learn more, to be able to share with the public, to help those who are unaware that they have been affected by any forms of myositis, to let them know that how it affects the African American women more than other groups of women. So it meant a lot to me because not only that, then I can also find out things that I can do to help me along this journey and meet all the other ladies as well. So
thank you. And some of you may not know prior to coming into the session today that actually one of the things that TMA through the years has realized is that there are some daunting facts out there. So for example, one of the facts is that more women of color are diagnosed with polymyositis, dermatomyositis, and necrotizing myopathy than Caucasian women. Another alarming fact was that hospitalization and mortality rates for DM and PM are highest among women of color. So once they realize that, okay, this is something that we're seeing, as a concern in our myositis community, we really need to address that and raise awareness in the hope that we can get better diagnosis, better access to care in a quicker fashion to, help women of color. So that's really the premise behind the entire campaign, and these women have done a great job advocating for that. So we'll continue with the same question for you, if you don't mind.
The reason I voted to this was because, as I said, we all had our first conference. We were talking about ways that we could have people know about this, basically African Americans. And I was stating the fact that most of us, we don't read, and then if we do, oh, that's not us. So if they're able to see us and we can talk to them about what's going on, then it makes a difference. So the main reason I, wanted to be up front was solely to say, hey, you're not alone. You can talk to someone. We all can get through this together, as well as learn more and learn everybody else's journey, because I could overlook something that's happening with me that may be sharing, or when somebody has gone through, and I'll be like, oh, I didn't think or connect that to, what's going on with me. So this board to me is very important, like I said, because once you get to see it, then it resonates more.
Absolutely. Excellent. Thank you.
When I was asked to be a part of this panel, I said, or to get on the committee, which was in April, I was surprised that here again, this is another disease that affects statistically African American women. You have lupus and you have sickle cell. And so I said, well now, myositis, what's going on? Raising awareness, I come from the standpoint of trying to raise awareness in a community that is not really familiar with myositis. So being an African American woman, I thought in terms of how can I myself represent myositis, and I don't have myositis. But I can raise awareness, and I started to reach out in different areas, or think about the areas in which I could reach, which would be churches, social organizations, and so forth. So I said, you know, yes, I'll get involved being an African American woman, being in the status that I am as far as reaching people. So I thought about it, I said, yeah, I can do my part. And here I am today, and I have been in my community. And I want to thank you for asking me to be a part of this panel today.
I really appreciate it.
Hello, everyone. Well, I started on pretty much, I do appreciate all the women as far as on this panel, but my journey pretty much led me to want to inspire other people and uplift them and empower them. And I'm just going to say a little quote that I go by. I am not what has happened to me, I am what I chose to become. So living with women of myositis, I was diagnosed in 2007. And at this present moment, with my strong faith, I wanted to uplift the community and inspire them. I do truly believe that our story belongs to someone else because sometimes we all go through our differences, but we are experiencing things that are different. And so I wanted to uplift the community, so I started sharing and writing my stories through articles, through the Health Journal, and through the Final Call. And as of today, that's being as an African-American woman, I do truly believe that we have to keep moving through life, so this is how I continue to explore my journey.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I wanted to join the Women of Color panel to bring the aspect of a younger group. I'm sorry.
She went there.
But like Miss Laurie stated, I was diagnosed at 19 years old. I had symptoms at 18. And so I wanted to bring a face for young women of color who may have been getting diagnosed right now in their teenage years, that to show them, hey, you can have a life with myositis. Your life is not over. They're starting their adulthood with an illness. So you have to imagine how vibrant you were as a teenager to then go from I'm vibrant and now I'm paralyzed, I'm a vegetable, I can't move. So I want them to see me and see themselves in me on this panel, because a lot of women of color here had a life and then got diagnosed. So I just want to, like I said, I just want to bring awareness and show them that, hey, I'm married, I have children, you can do this. Don't let this be the end of your story. Yes, you're gonna lose friends. Yes, people aren't gonna understand. You don't look sick because you're so young. I don't understand. But I just wanted to be that face to say, hey, I know Holly, and, so I know that I can get through this. If she can do it, I can do it. So I started my campaign of polymyositis, bringing awareness about 3 years ago, and then I started my YouTube channel, blogging every day, called Myo Life, and a lot of young women have actually reached out to me and said that they were suffering in silence. So it just makes me want to keep going, because I did that myself. I suffered in silence. I wanted to be normal, a normal 22-year-old, a normal 25-year-old. I didn't want to, people to see me in a different light, not knowing that I should have started this when I was 19.
Right.
So I just want to thank you for letting me be a part of the panel. I did not want to offend anybody with age. I'm up there now. I'm 35.
Yeah.
I'm 35, so I'm up there. But I did want to just bring that aspect to the panel.
Thank you, Ms. Holly.
Good morning, everyone. I want to thank you also for asking me to be part of this wonderful team of women of color. My approach was that we are all misunderstood. That's how I first started out my panel. And how I went about it, and I didn't have any idea of how I was going to go about it, was I am very active with my children and my grandchildren, and everywhere we went, playgrounds, pools, and we're active outside, is that I wanted to wear this t-shirt that said we are misunderstood. And as women of color, as all women, we are misunderstood. But then I realized that my main approach was to reach out to people who are not active, and that we can be active in all that we do as Black women, and most Black women do not want to get in the water because they do not want to get their hair wet. But let me tell you, it is the best way to get active in the movement. And from that point, this is how I reached out to women of color.
Awesome. Thank you.
I think one of the reasons that I really needed to be involved in this was because we get to be what I call a face of TMA. We're the ones that are out there up front. Being on Capitol Hill was an amazing thing for me because it was something that I could advocate for TMA as a representative of TMA. I could go back to my community and still engage with people, representatives and whatnot, so that we can bring awareness to a different part of the community that would never, ever hear of this. So for me, it was really important to be there, and it's part of me being out there.
That's huge. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. It's Elisa Glass again. I approach this very differently. I know that we all, didn't matter where our ethnicity or nationality is, we all had same sufferings of certain things. So I had to look at to see what is it as a Black African American woman that would set me apart. And of course, she stated a lot of it, but there was also something else that was unknown. Having some Latin blood also messed with our iron. And our iron gets depleted quite quick. So as I was searching, there was no statistics, there was no scientific documentation to support this fact. I continued to research and searched and realized that a lot of my problems were really ethnicity-wise coming from the Latin community and what was happening. Therefore, we were able to address it in a very different manner in terms of what I would take for medicine. Also, I was told, expect to have some form of cancer within 2 years. Said, if not, call yourself lucky. Well, cancer twice, skin cancer, I have DM. And the prediction was correct. Not that I supported it. All right, I'm really a very happy-go-lucky person and I'm very positive. But there were facts and there were realities, and that was another one. So the cancer did manifest, skin cancer twice. So I have a really cool tattoo in my back right now. I think it's cool. Then after that, there was other things that they did discuss that I need to look out for. Fibromyalgia, lupus, things that I needed to be aware of based on my ethnicity. Did not consider it a weakness, considered it a strength, because now I had more information of what I needed to proceed and be tested for. As I'm quite sure all of you, a lot of your doctors didn't believe you, didn't want you to know more than them. I struggled with the same thing, but of course I focused on the fact that I was of Latin and African American descent and brought them information and got the team on board. And we have been able to address a lot of the issues, but of course, myositis really is sneaky and tries to look for the loopholes, but that was my approach. And in doing that, I took that information to a lot of the doctors, the nurses, the PA, physician assistants. I went to a lot of clinics, a lot of speaking Spanish only clinics to get this information out. And in doing so, thanks to the help, we were able to diagnose 3 other women who would have never been diagnosed. So we're very proud and happy of what we've been doing, and thank you again for having me.
Thank you.
Good morning, I'm very thankful for being here. I got into the Women of Color campaign because other women of color in my church and in my community was, like asking me, how did you find out you had polymyositis? Because they were explaining to me that they asked me first, what's the symptom? What does it start with? First it starts with I had problem going up the stairs. problems getting up from a low seat, from the toilet seat, problem with my hands to go up over my head. And they said to me, you know what? I'm having those same symptoms, the things happening to me. You think I have, the same thing you have? I said, well, the only way you could find that out, go to your PCP doctor, explain that to him, and go hear your heart, and they will refer you to a rheumatologist, a specialist. That's where you start, that's where it begins. And, I was very, thankful to know that somebody look at me and see what, I was going through and compare to what they're going through. So, that's the only way you're going to find out, what it is. I can't tell you that you have polymyositis. You have to go, to the doctors, and you go to the right rheumatologist, they will tell you. Just have to have the right one.
Yeah.
But some people have the first time I went to my doctor, he said, I said, what's that? Some doctors don't even know. So there are plenty of doctors out there don't know what this is. You tell them, you explain to them, I'm doing this, that, take this test, do that test. You know the test that you have to take to get to this, EMG, this, that, yeah, so that's it. I was able to, help somebody else with the symptoms to go to to find out what it was.
Which is so huge, because it's so unique and it looks, because it's so unique and looks so different for every individual, it is very helpful when you do have someone who has been there, done that, can give you some of that guidance for that, pathway that you need to take in order to get some answers. So one of the things I was looking at, for example, Miss Elisa, she had done a video, and for Corbus Pharmaceuticals, you can find it on YouTube. And she was talking about dermatomyositis and what it was to her and what she had gone through with that. One of the things that resonated with me was she said she said, dermatomyositis has allowed me to explain to other people with such passion why they should love life. And that really stood out to me, because that put a different face to dermatomyositis, I thought, and it was definitely a different outlook. I know you're very passionate about mental health. And so, knowing that you have myositis, dermatomyositis, and you're, wanting people to live their life and love life, why, what about mental health can you share with others that is helpful in this journey? Yeah.
One of the things that people overlook is the fact that when you start losing so much of what you used to do, you start to mourn. And you start getting caught up in mourning and who you were and what I used to do and where I used to go. And that's such a Debbie Downer. It's just not going to make you feel better. So what happens is that you have to start really embracing who you are. And it is a rebirth. Allow yourself to mourn because it's real. It really is real. And to try to build who you are to start this new life. And the thing about myositis that we also need to understand is that one day is good, tomorrow could be horrible. So if you don't watch it, your mental health will go up and down, up and down. So every time that you're doing good, you try to convince yourself, oh, I'm getting better. We have to remember that this is not a disease that continues to go uphill and then you're healed. This is a disease that loves the roller coaster ride. And if you don't understand that, you're gonna really damage yourself psychologically. Try to isolate, you'll push people away, you feel less than, then goes your confidence, then there goes your self-esteem. You don't wanna do your hair, you don't wanna do makeup, you don't wanna get dressed, you don't wanna go out, you're afraid of the sun. A lot of us turn into vampires, right? It's like, you can't go out in the sun. So when we look at this, it's how do we address that? And you need to start learning the new you. You were reborn into something else, into a powerful, powerful warrior. That's what you were reborn into. And sometimes it's very difficult to see your power, to see what it is and what you're going to do. But in that, I really support the fact that you get a therapist, do some self-help programs, get into things that you've never tried before, because it really deflects from some of the things you're doing. It's also a distraction. Learn to love yourself and do for yourself. A lot of us were always doing for someone else. Our children, our mates, our jobs, and all of a sudden, we're here thinking, what are we going to do with this new body that may not be able to do things? So certainly, I am an advocate for therapy. I was very fortunate that where I was immediately given a neuropsychologist. I was in the hospital for 4 months. And instantly, I'm one of the ones, the rare cases that it was very instant. I was ill on a Thursday, completely paralyzed by Monday. Took 4 days for myositis to take me down. So they immediately gave me a neuropsychologist. I have not stopped going to therapy to this day. I'm trying to learn who I am, what's my role now, find my place, not only in this planet, but within myself. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
I noticed that we had for the first time a Women of Color webinar session that you were able to be a representative on, along with some doctors focusing on specifically women of color and myositis during Myositis Awareness Month. Could you maybe speak a little bit to that and tell us what that was a little bit about?
Well, it was pretty good. It was my first experience. We spoke with Dr. Sonia Dano, which is a pulmonologist, and I just went into depth as far as about my health journey. I was explaining as far as from the beginning of some certain things that I was dealing with, from the muscle weakness to not being able to get out of bed. I started talking about as far as not fixing my peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that my kids love because I wasn't able to grasp. And at that time, I pretty much didn't know what was going on. So as I continued to just tell them as far as with certain pain levels that I was dealing with, I done had 2 operations because of calcinosis. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but calcium deposits started to seep in because of my high levels of prednisone that I was on, which was 60 milligrams. I was trying to taper down to the 60, to the 40, to the 20, and every time I would get down to the 20, it was really difficult for me to taper off and wing off. And the calcification started to take over my whole entire body, making progress, along with the overlapping of scleroderma. And I had to have my left leg pretty much a skin grafting and muscle flop. And then it started infecting my right leg, and the same thing with my right leg. I had to have the calcifications removed, and they were the size of a grapefruit. And so, I just started to, during the webinar, I wanted to go into what really freed me from this, and that was me becoming a better person and, having faith, that strong faith, and to be able to push through. We talked about our hair, we talked about mental health, but we talked about self-care, and that's the number one thing that I wanted to go into as far as with the webinar, to let everyone know that, just because, we go through our ups and downs, the roller coaster ride, as she explained, and it does happen in a split second, and that speed, I tell you, is kind of hard to even try to explain at certain times to other people because they don't understand what we're actually going through. But as long as you know you and you love you and you keep pushing through life, then everything will become better.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right. I wanted to talk to Sharon for a moment. We recognize, oftentimes at the conferences we hear that exercise is key with myositis. It's, a really important aspect of it, and it helps all forms of myositis. You had mentioned earlier in regards to swimming and oftentimes being active with your grandchildren, your children, going to the pools and things of that nature. So can you tell us a little more about your challenge that you had, the swimming challenge?
In reference to my swimming challenge, first of all, I've been active all my life, all my entire life. And swimming was my main activity. And during my challenge, I was swimming 1 to 2 days a week. And there were days when you just don't feel like going into the water, and but it was my passion. It was my sanctuary, was water, and it is still today. So I made a decision to challenge myself. And what I did was I put on a 7-day challenge. And I started from, I believe it was the 21st of May, and I had 7 days to complete a 7-day challenge. It was the hardest challenge in my entire life. I didn't know what I was putting myself up against. So once I got past the first and second day, I was like, yeah, I got this. The first day was my best, of course it was my best timing, and I progressed through it. But throughout this 3rd day and trying to get to the 4th day, it was a challenge. But I had to push myself. And I did. I was able to get to the 4th day, I was able to get to the 5th day, I was able to get to the 6th day, and when I finally made it to the 7th day, I was like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? But I made it through. And I went public with it. I've never gone public on anything on Facebook or anything. So, and as I was going through each day, I was recording it. And at the end of the progress, I was stronger, I felt better, healthier, and my biggest struggle was that I began losing my hair began to thinning out because of the chlorine, but this is over a period of time. And I reached out to Portia. Portia was my advocate for my hair, and she basically worked with me and said, you know, Sharon, you know, just use this product and keep brushing your hair, keep brushing, and you gotta get those follicles working. I said, well, should I just stop putting my head up under the water because I'm really losing my hair? Our hair is not the main core of our life right now. So if you find movement in water or whatever exercise that you do it. Movement is excellent, but the water is better for anyone that has myositis. If you can just get in the water and work out 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you will realize that your foot that can't do like this, that just can't inch up a little, will become up more and more. And Yvonne, me and her live in the same borough. And I changed my gym, literally, to get her started and to push her and to work with her. And then she's like, Sharon, I can get down, I can get down, I can get up, I'm feeling stronger. Start somewhere. And if you can't walk upstairs, you can't do any type of exercising, water will help you move forward. And don't worry about your hair, because it's not important right now. So that's how I approached it.
Thank you.
How far did you swim in those 7 days?
Actually, I don't remember. It is on my Facebook page, every process that I did. But what I would do is I started out on a 25, my pool was 25 milliliters, and how I did, I went from starting out with maybe 20 meters, then I went to 30 meters, and I went to 40 meters, and now I'm up to 100 milliliters. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Portia, I feel like this is a perfect time to piggyback. You turned a tragedy into triumph for you in regards to your own personal situation with being diagnosed with myositis and realizing that there was, something physically going on, with you that, based on your background, you were able to, put those skills together to make something great from it. What do you hope people learn through your advocacy work with the Women of Color campaign?
So good. Well, when I was first diagnosed, I never said anything like, why me, or what am I going to do? And the way that my doctor told me, it was basically, your body's attacking your muscles for no reason. you're going to have muscle loss, muscle's gonna waste away, you're not gonna be able to move, you're not gonna be able to eat, you're not gonna be able to swallow, you'll just be lying down and then you die. That's how he gave it to me. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, can you be any more left than that? But it never took me down at that moment or whatever. I've always been kind of a positive person, always ready for a challenge, and I guess the Lord gave me one. But having the hair loss and everything wasn't a big deal. However, I knew something wasn't right. I started losing hair on my legs and stuff, but I thought it was because I was mixing some lotion. I ran out of one, and I said, well, let me use this one, you know. But that wasn't it. But as time went on, I lost hair in the front. I was very brittle, different things like that. So I said, look, I'm going in the kitchen and I'm here to cook me something. So I did that. However, just being very, very positive and not letting what you're going through get to you, it will get to you. And mentally, trust me, I'm up and down. Sometimes, you know, I'm battling with myself all the time. But I do thank God I have a strong mind. But with that being said, putting together the products and everything else that I do, within that, I do the aquatics as well. I love aquatics. And like she said, it helps tremendously. And 5 minutes, it feels so good. It makes you want to keep going and going. And before you know it, you're an hour in the pool and it helps you. I mean, and you then can do some things that you couldn't do before. But getting back to what I was saying, as for me and how it made me want to push and do something, the products, I feel like God put us through things for reasons. I would have never thought about making a product or anything if it wasn't for this disease. So I kind of give polymyositis the praise of getting me to have this business. Because if it wasn't for polymyositis, I wouldn't have it. So I just take everything as what happens to me, I try to turn it into a positive. It's very hard to do that.
Sure.
You have to have support and you have to have, you know, that mental capacity to do so. I'm probably rambling. I'm sorry if I am.
So far, so good.
It's really a mental thing and you have to stay, you just have to stay positive about everything, whether you feel like it or not. You know, you have to talk to yourself. Okay, Portia, get up. You can't do this. You know, and there are days you do. You sit there and you don't do anything. But the mind state is the best way to get through it. Just try to keep your mind busy and do different things. And just keep going. Just be positive. My shirt on the back says nothing will stop my shine, even on my worst day.
I love it. That is true. Thank you.
Advocacy work is something that's really important, and due to the rareness of this disease, along with other rare diseases, oftentimes, you know, we want to try to put a voice and a face and understanding to this disease process called myositis. Dale, can you maybe shine some light into what your time on Capitol Hill was like during Rare Disease Week? You know, what were you able to maybe participate in and speak to help others in the myositis community?
First of all, I had never heard of Rare Disease Week, and TMA put it on its website, and it was like, hey, this seems interesting, something, it was a way for us to be an advocate. We, I don't remember how many people there were, but there were thousands of people with all different rare diseases. And the whole purpose of the conference, they actually teach you how to be an advocate, and they make appointments with the representatives on Capitol Hill. Everyone went to their state, their own representatives. We spent one whole day, and we had to have specific training in order to be able to go there. They set up the appointments, and we went into the senators and representatives' offices. And as a group, there was always a group, and we told them our stories. We told them what we were advocating for. we were able to leave information on our different things, and we also did pictures.
Gotta remember the moments, you know?
We did pictures then with all of the representatives. But the whole idea was to get in front of them and to be able to put a face and a story and tell them why. One of the things we were advocating for as well was more money for NIH for research. As a group, you know, they were cutting the budget. They were talking about cutting the budget for the research, and that was one of the things we were advocating for. There were 3 or 4 other things, as well as the personal one of TMA. So we were able to leave information. We got their cards. Some of them have called us back. We can call them, but and we can meet with them in our own home states. That gives us a voice where they're looking at people, and when the idea of these budgets and these causes come up, they have some insight. Because when you see the thousands and thousands of people that were there, just going from office to office to office, it was amazing. And we did a picture on the Capitol steps, which was interesting. It was like a 4-day conference. The last day we went to NIH, and we did, they had conferences there. We were lucky enough, the TMA group were lucky enough, 2 of our researchers are there. And they actually, after 4 o'clock, they took us around and showed us all of the research areas, the hospital. I mean, we got the grand tour of everything. So it was really exciting, well, for me, because I had never been to NIH. But we must have spent like 4 hours just touring around to the different places.
Thank you. That's awesome.
And Ms. Dale, did you have advocacy experience prior to that?
No.
None, right? So, you know, and that's some of the great insight that these women are sharing today is that, you know, the things that they're doing is not that they're well trained in this and this is something they've done all their life. They've become someone who has myositis and have decided to, you know, put that into perspective. And life is told through stories, right? I mean, that's what life is all about. It's all these pictures of these different moments that make up our life, and to really put a face to it and for people to see, you know, that this affects a variety of different people in a variety of different ways is really huge. So thank you for that. All right, so Ms. Holly, I know that you had mentioned earlier that you know, you were diagnosed at a younger age, and you know, you faced a lot of the things that people in that 20 to 40-year-old age range, you know, when they're diagnosed with a disease process such as myositis, they have lots of wonderings and questions about their lifestyle and you know, what their life will be like at that time. Can you tell us a little bit how you utilize blogging and, you know, your YouTube channel and things of that nature to provide advocacy in regards to myositis and putting a face to it?
Yes, I actually have been told for years now to stand up and say something. And I don't want to seem offensive, but I actually kind of felt even out of place here. Because you know, I didn't see me anywhere, if that's fair to say.
Yeah.
But then I realized, you know what, if I don't see me, then maybe I need to be the me that they see. And so, and I'm glad I did it. I started a YouTube channel called Myo Life. And a woman from Virginia reached out to me. She said, I just had to call you. She DM'd me and I sent her my information. She said, I was diagnosed at 20 years old and now I'm 45. And I see me in you now that I'm, you know, 45. She said, and I wish that I would have done what you're doing now. She said she felt alone as well, that nobody understood her.
Yep.
Because in my stories and my blogging, I remind people of how vibrant I used to be, the things that I used to do, and how my friends didn't understand that when they asked me to go somewhere, I don't know if y'all experience this, but when I go somewhere, my mind starts calculating how far am I going to have to walk? How low is the seating going to be?
Right.
And if I'm standing, how long am I going to have to stand?
Right.
20-year-olds can do it without even a thought process. You know, or if I'm going to go sit at someone's house, oh, I wonder how low is their couch.
Right.
You know,
Right.
things like that a typical young person doesn't have to think about. You know, these young women today have their bags and their heels. I have to find cute flats, you know, trying to keep up. And also, I started my Facebook page, Collar Myositis, bringing awareness. I have my shirt on. I do shirts every year to bring awareness. How I got started with TMA, I called them up and said, hey, do y'all have anything? I just want to bring more awareness, and that's how I met Miss Madonna, and she helped me out a lot. But yeah, I wanted to just bring awareness to this age group to show you that you can have a life with this disease. I had a very, like you did, I had a very grim look. They told me that I wasn't going to make it to 35 because I have PM with ILD. They told me not to ever have children. I met my husband at 21. He's young, he's healthy, and I finally told him about my disease, and he was like, oh, okay, that's cool. I know about prednisone. I took that when I was a child. I have asthma. I was like, that's your first initial thought.
Right. It was love at first sight, right?
Yeah, he will tell y'all, I tried to throw him away so many times. Because I was like, you're young, you're healthy, and you are very rare. You're an educated black man, you rare. So, you know, go find you someone who's young and healthy that can give you children and a beautiful life. I don't know what I can promise you. I don't know if I will survive 5 or 10 years into our marriage because of the outlook that they gave me. And they encourage you not to have children, but I've had 3. And I don't want to tell people I don't know your health issues. I don't want to tell you to go have children. But I think if they stop telling young women, oh, the mortality rate is so high, that maybe if I have children and she has children, maybe we can make a shift, a change in that, and you can have a new normal life with myositis. And that's all I wanted to bring awareness to, and to show people that my faith has brought me so far. My doctors, they look at my charts. I don't even want to tell y'all what it's like. But they look at my charts and they've seen that I've had this now for 16 years. And they look at how my lungs look honeycomb. That's the way they describe it. And they look at my chart, and then when they walk in the room, they're confused. They're puzzled. Why do you look this good? And I always tell them, because you're not, I'm very faithful, I'll tell you about that, but when they see me, they see God. That's what you're seeing. You know, because there are so many days where I don't even want to pray for myself. So I have others that I surround myself with that will say, hey, I got you, I will pray for you. I will intercede and do this for you. So a lot of the times I have to tell my doctors, yeah, you see my chart, but when you come in this room, you see my faith. And you have to have that, especially at a very young age, because you start out young, and the next thing you know, why am I getting stuck in my desk at school? I literally had that experience. My teacher was so sweet enough to move the classroom downstairs for me so I could sit at a regular table and do my schoolwork, because I kept getting stuck in my desk after class. And she would wait until the class leave and help me get out. But I started my radio show called Crazy and Christian. I'm on Facebook Live 12 o'clock every Monday. If y'all want to hear more about myositis and hear more about my faith, living in this world. And our motto is, in this crazy world, being a Christian brings me peace. You talked about mental health. Imagine being so young and your world being turned upside down. Imagine thinking, I will never have love. I will never have a family. You know, like I said, a lot of women here had that before they got diagnosed. My husband married me in illness. So when he said his vows, that he should just mark that out. He was like, I'm already here for that. So, and I tell you, he has a story as well. We've been married now for 13 years. You have been a caretaker and a caregiver for 13 years, but you just look at it as, I'm just your husband. No. You have, through trial and error, helped me out of the bathtub, helped me off the toilet, helped me go upstairs, lifted me off couches and chairs. So you just automatically, naturally have been a caretaker. And he hates it when I put him on the spot, but I have to give him his praise for being there, married to me for 13 years. So, and of course, like I said, I was only diagnosed 2 years prior to meeting him. So this has been a learning journey for both of us. But I really, really, like I said, wanted to just bring awareness for young women who are pushing themselves they're thinking I'm in college, I'll work, maybe I just need to quit my job and I'll be fine. That's not true. I did that. I wasn't going crazy. Something was going on with my body.
Right.
And as a young person, it's hard to express what's going on with your body, especially when people want to tell you you're just being lazy and it's in your head. And that's not true. They believe you when you're older. Because you know who you are and you know your body. But when they're true. Oh, it's not true. But they didn't believe us. Right. But when I was young, there was like, you know, stop lying, you can do this. I'm like, no, it's true. But that's what I wanted to bring. I know I'm probably rambling now. I think I might have said too much. But I really, really appreciate that this is a dream of mine. This has been a dream of mine to come here to the Myositis Association conference, and I'm just so excited. Oh, and now the Houston support leader, group leader, yes. So I'm going to start setting up meetings and hopefully get engaged and meet more people. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, honestly. And really, hearing everyone's stories along the way, you all really are taking cans and turning them into cans, which is really important, you know, and it's making that shift. And, you know, I understand and I empathize with what you're saying, that you don't necessarily see you here, and you don't see, you know, a bunch of people that you necessarily connect with, but I think that's also part of this awareness campaign with women of color, not only recognizing how myositis affects women of color, but then also recognizing too that it also affects people at a younger age as well as an older age. There's a whole lot in between as well, you know, so I applaud every woman on this panel, every one of you on this panel, because it's very vulnerable to share your story, you know? It's a process to go through that and to decide, yep, I'm gonna share this, and it really is so powerful and makes such a difference for others. So thank you. You know, you're taking it to the video world and, you know, connecting with people through social media, and these are all great ways that anyone that with myositis can really help to make a difference and share with others and connect with others and empower them. So thank you. All right, Miss Linda, so you've been working with the Patient Engagement Network. I know that as a care partner, you are really passionate about, you know, helping care partners out there assist those with myositis to live their life to the fullest. Can you tell us a little more what the Patient Engagement Network entails and some of your work with that?
Patient engagement, talking circles.
Yes.
The National Care Partners Network. I didn't put that on my resume or my bio because I did not know whether I would have been appointed that as of yet. But I have been appointed as a National Care Partner.
Yes.
Key person that you get in touch with. I just want to address Miss Holly. Miss Holly, we're all women of color, and we are all women. We have a commonality. And the commonality has nothing to do right now of age. I'm glad that you represent age group, but our commonality is myositis and what we go through. As a care partner, and I would like to share with you, as we've talked about before, my husband had IBM. I became my husband. I became his advocate. I became my husband. I understand the pain, the agony that you go through. I had to, in the end, I enrolled my husband every day, several times a day, because he couldn't roll over. I had to bathe my husband, put him on the toilet, talk with my husband, and many times I had to speak for my husband. I had to be my husband. My husband, when he was diagnosed in 2015, he had stopped walking. Prior to that, my husband had a swagger. My husband was 6'4". His presence was known in the room. I married this husband when I was in my early 40s. We were the couple. We were the it person. He liked clothes, he loved cologne. I had watched this man in 2015 go to a man who had the swagger, and he just almost just disappeared in front of my eyes. He lost, as he said to me, this disease, it robs you of your dignity, because he had to get a pamper put on by me. Now this was this myositis. He had other health-related issues, but nothing like myositis, and knocked him off of his feet. Now prior to that, I had a health issue that knocked me off my feet. I didn't want to be strong. I don't know about you ladies, you look strong, you look beautiful. I don't want to be a strong black woman. I want to be a woman, somebody cared for me. Now here I have to think for this man. I had to take him and put him on the bathroom. I had to make decisions. I don't want to be that person. I wanted to be the person that I was, an independent woman who had a man who loved me for loving me, and I loved him. I wanted my boyfriend back. I wanted my young lover back. But I didn't have that person. And I wasn't the person that he had anymore, because I was angry because this disease, not the other things he had, this disease had robbed him. And I didn't know what it was. He didn't know what it was. We went from doctor to doctor, just as you are. And I was him. I want to know, why is he disappearing? Why is he having all this pain? Why does this man have rash over him and ashy? You got to tell me something. Because I'm tired of thinking for him. I don't want to be him. I want to be the lady who was had high heels on. But I didn't have them high heels on after 2005 because I had brain aneurysm. But I had a man over here who was just as ill as I was, and we could not diagnose it. So I was angry because, you know why? I didn't have time to go through my own. And I got a person who's depending on me, but I loved him. And in the end, I accepted him for who he was. I still treated him like a man who had swag. I wanted to be loved and held. So what goes on in this meeting needs to stay in this meeting right now. I wanted to be held. I wanted to be the woman who could dance, and he used to be on that floor dancing. I wasn't doing that much dancing. But I wanted that person. But then I realized that I had to love this person as who he was, because I had a disability and I wasn't looking the same way as well. So I had to adjust my thought, because it is a mental thing. I share this with these ladies. You're no longer that person that you were, and myositis can rob you of your mental ability. He didn't talk anymore because he was robbed of his speech. So as a care partner, I realized this, and I started researching and understanding the fact that he didn't want to be, or you don't want to be, the way that you were. So I would do things for him, the little things that made him have some thought or resemblance of the person that he was. And I shared with people all the time. The man liked cologne. I ordered Avon. He didn't want Avon. He wanted Shelton cologne. He wanted Gucci or whatever it is. So he ordered his own. He could get on the iPad. He couldn't wear it on his skin because of the rash. But I would put it in his shirts, put it on the sheets. I did things that I said I never would do. I don't iron anybody's t-shirts. But that's all he had, because he was in a pamper. But I loved him in that pamper. So I'm saying this to say, as care partners, we have to love the individual that we did remember. He's still there. He's still there. However, you get into another relationship with a memory, and you love that person for what you can do for that person, because I know he would have done it for me, or I wanted somebody to do it for me, for him. Right. God played a role. He took over me. There was so many mornings I would hear him. I said, you know what, I did him like a little child. I'm just going to try and get up a little bit early so he won't call me. So I could just have that moment with God to just give me peace and be able to deal with a person that I love differently. And every love is a different love, whether you're walking, standing, or whatever, or whether your 20-year love is different from your 40-year love, different from your 60-year My husband died at 64. He didn't die of IBM. He died of another complication. I miss him. I miss even putting that pamper on him. I miss some stinging words. And I applaud the husbands that are here. This is the first time that I've run across so many young men that are husbands. I like to get the talking circle going, engagement, to engage to get their thoughts. But it doesn't appear that they have any complaints. They're just smiling and taking pictures as if you all were receiving the NAACP award. I guess, but I applaud that because they love you as you. It's a journey that we're on, and you have to have a good support group, whether it is your husband, whether it is your sister, whether it is friends. I've had friends that say, listen, we're coming to get you, to take you out for an hour or two. My husband was my big supporter because he would say, why don't you go on out for an hour or two? Or he would say, go to church. Go to church, I'll be all right. And I said to myself, I guess so, but you can't move. And I would tell people that. I said, girl, aren't you out? I said, listen, my husband can't do nothing. He's right there in that bed. He had the telephone near him. But I knew I could only stay maybe 2 hours and everything. And I would always bring him something back. It's the little things that count. And as a care partner, national person, I want to supply what resources I have that they make available. I can be here if you want to talk. I understand. I've had IBM. My husband had IBM. I've had pain. I may not be 20 years old, but I sure can be an engagement person to talk with you because I love talking with these young women. I have a daughter who's a little bit older, and she said, I don't understand why you have so many young friends that love you. I said, well, I understand what they're going through. I've been young before. I understand what they're talking about. I understand if your husband had put you on the toilet and gave you a bath. But you know what? I would love right now for a man to give me a bath.
Woo, okay.
Don't say that to say.
And on that note.
Thank you so much, Ms. Linda, for sharing your story with us. And Ms. Linda does bring up a really important part. Talking circles is something that is a newer initiative with TMA, but it's meant for care partners because it's a journey together, and it is important to have that support group that whether it's a formalized support group or a friend, a sister, a family member, whoever it is, and embrace one another and help each other rise up because, like I think you mentioned it earlier, it's like being on a roller coaster, and it seems like Myositis has a season pass to the amusement park, you know what I mean? So you just never know, the ride that you'll be on, but that support goes a long way. Thank you. Ms. Darlene, I know that it had been mentioned that you were able to get a proclamation by the mayor in regards to Myositis Awareness Month. Can you tell us a little more about your advocacy in regards to the event that you hosted there at your local library?
So everything started out because of what I've been going through with myositis. And as I mentioned earlier that I wanted to make awareness. So when I got involved with TMA starting 2013.
A little higher. There you go.
Okay.
Yep.
I got involved in TMA in 2013, and so I wanted to continue that. And when it came about this year about the women of color, and I was asked if I would like to be a part of it, and I was like, sure, because again, I didn't realize just how much this disease affected our women of color. And when I found out, I was like, yes, I gotta say something, So I contacted the mayor's office to find out what was the steps needed to get a proclamation, and then I let them know that it was having an event and what it was about to make awareness in the communities in Nashville so that people would know about the different myositis. And so I contacted, I believe the lady's name was Elise, and told her about it. And I also invited our mayor to come, but it was such a short notice, he was unable to attend. So they sent a proclamation, and May the 22nd was the day that was chosen to have it at the Barber Library. So I thank them very much for that. And the proclamation was read by my best friend, Yolanda Pointer, and it was a pretty good turnout. And what was done was told the story how the Myositis got started, how the names changed.
Yeah.
We talked about the research and the grants, and also I shared my story of how I was diagnosed in 2013, and with all the complications that I had from walking up steps, being in excruciating pain, having the drop foot, having things in my hand, and knowing I'm having a grip on it and dropping them. But my account being up so high that I've been hospitalized. This year, in January 24th, I went to the hospital. I was hurting so bad, and my CPK count was 8,100. And so from January 24th to January 30th, I was in the hospital. Then I had to go to the nursing home. And I was there from January 3rd to February 22nd, where I could not stand for nothing but 1 minute. I didn't have balance. I had to go through occupational therapy, speech therapy, and physical therapy. So today, because of that and still doing therapy, I'm able to stand longer. Still have to work on my balance. So my thing is that because of making awareness and having an event, is letting people know that you can live with this. It can be manageable, you know, so don't give into it, because I'm not going to give into it. Don't give up. And also talk to your doctors, because doctors do make, they don't always make the right diagnosis. And a lot of times, we as women, we don't like to ask questions. We take our doctors for face value because we feel like, well, they know what they're doing. But to be honest with you, a lot of times we know more than they do.
Right.
We know a lot more because we do the research.
Yeah.
And we find out things that they don't know, and we can share with them. And so that too was brought out at the event to ask questions, because that is very, very important. And like there's about 75,000 people walking around with myositis, and they are unaware of it. You know, I spoke with someone before, and they was going through the same symptoms, and I made a suggestion, go talk to your doctor and ask them to test you to see if you have it. So I'm excited to be a part of this panel with all these wonderful ladies, and I want to thank you for allowing me to, and sharing and being on this journey has been a part of me. This is my first time ever being in a wheelchair, and it was a big challenge. I live alone. I'm not dating, and so I'm not dating. It was like starting over all over again. It was, because I was used to being active in the community. I do a lot of volunteer with Fight Against Bullying and children's programs, Youth for a Peaceful Community. So being active and then turn around and I'm told you can't do those things no more. You push yourself too much, you will revert backwards. You got to take your time. Take it easy, take naps. I'm like, take naps? Who does that? I just want to do it. So now I find myself having to do a little bit at a time. Then sit down, because I still get tired when I'm standing. Now at home, I use a walker for around the house, or if I'm going somewhere for short distance. When I'm out like here, or if I use the wheelchair. I get very tired and I have to sit. And then there's sometimes, if I don't know if you ladies have experienced, one day you might feel so bad, but the next day all of a sudden you got this burst of energy. And you feel like you can take on the world. Well, that's me, and I'll start doing everything I can do. Then during that time, I'll start doing that. The next day, I can't move. I can't do anything. And everybody's like, well, darling, you can't push yourself enough. But I'm gonna tell you, I never known how not to push myself and not to challenge. And that's something that I had to learn to pace myself, and it's still hard. So again, thank you, and making awareness for Nashville and the Metropolitan Davidson County. It's been great because a lot of people, even in the hospitals, when I talk to a lot of African American women, they were unaware of this, and they were in the hospital. You would think you would know, and I would share with them the information, and so they were able to know about that. So I want to continue as long as the good Lord gives me breath in my body to share and make awareness. And my biggest fact, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be quiet. It's okay. When I was in the nursing home, I worked in nursing homes, and there was the one place I said I would never want to be, and I wound up there. And I've done some YouTube videos on this when I first started while I was in nursing home, and I was also doing devotionals. So when the doctor came in and he told me that he was surprised I was still living, because for 6 years I haven't been on anything for this disease, but I was going through all the pains and everything. So the thought came, was like, okay, he said, you know you can die. You realize how fatal this is. I could have laid in a hospital, in a nursing home, and balled up and just went into a deep depression, because I do have depression. But something said, you know what, no, you can't. This is the time you show strength. This is the time you've been talking about faith, and this is the time you show me through you. You don't lay down and give into it, and I didn't, so none of us can. None of us can. We have to keep pushing, staying active, do whatever it takes, eat right, balanced diet, all that. That makes a difference. That makes a difference in nutrition.
Guess we'll have some ice cream. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yep, there we go. Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Darlene, for sharing your story with us. We're coming close. We have about 15 minutes left, so I would like to take this opportunity to go around the panel, maybe about 2 minutes apiece. And maybe can you give us some insight into how has being part of the Women of Color panel and knowing you're helping to purposefully raise awareness affected your outlook?
Take it around the bit. Us old people gonna start first.
Start with old timers.
My oldest son is 40 years old. What I would like to share is one of the things that it did do for me was to realize that I can be an advocate. It gave me a different outlook. I felt not only empowered, but I felt powerful. And it also gave me a different direction in my life. I was at that age and at that, I had the career, had it going on, I'm doing all the check off, and I'm thinking I can retire and I'm gonna hang out with my granddaughters. Things was like so cool. And here came myositis. Switched all my plans, but it did show me so many things. I am resilient. I can have another life. There's so much more that I'm doing. And having this opportunity already showed me something else I can do, okay? Which was to address the Latino community, okay, the Black African American community, and of course, my nation, because we do have a strong Indian blood, Cherokee Indian. So these are things in terms that I'm doing, and I'm so excited about it. I don't know if you see me walking around here with all my shirts. It's like I wear it like with pride. This is who I am. You're not gonna have me apologize for my illness. You're not gonna have me apologize because it takes you 3 minutes to walk into the elevator, okay? You know, these are the things that I feel really grateful for, really good about, and being part of this. Besides having this sisterhood that had begun because of these communications we have, I realized that I am of value, okay?
100%.
Which Myositis stole that from me when I first got ill. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely.
You know, I just want to top on the one thing that she said. Throughout this whole process, we have become bonded, you know, as a group. And that is important because we can help each other even more to be the advocates, to be the persons, just to be. So that's so important.
There's powerful in being, you know what I mean?
Really.
Absolutely.
My outcome of this is that people that do not have this disease, we are misunderstood. But those who have it, we become family and we are understood by one another.
That's important.
Oh, wait, Darlene, hold it, I'm sorry. Come on now.
Oh, okay. What I learned from this is that, you know, I thought that I was able to help someone else to know the symptoms they were having, to go to the doctor and, you know, find out what it was. Don't just think it's, oh, I'm going to pain here, I'm going to pain there, I can't go up this step, I can't do this, I can't do that. Well, I can tell you about that because when I first, this thing first came on me, I tell you what happened to me. I was coming from work. I used to walk, I think I could have walked from here to Chicago or something like that. That's how active I was. And one morning I'm going, you know, to go up on the bus and I don't move. And I'm like, what happened? Something is going on, something is wrong. And I stood there and there was this people coming behind me and he started stooping, up in the button and thing. And I stood there and I cried. I cried because I felt, you know, so this was make me, it hurt, make me feel so thin, like I was holding up the truck and whatever. So it, you know, it's, I learned a lot from it, and then I was able to, as I said, you know, help others to, you know, realize what's going on in the body, to go to the right places to find out what's what. That's all it takes.
Hugely helpful. Yes. Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Darlene.
For me, the outcome is to make an impact on the world, to other women, men and children, because it affects all of us, but just the African American women more so. So the impact that the TMA is doing and being a part of that, to make an impact in the world, to also to empower others who may have this, to speak up so they can tell their stories to help, to be an inspiration to others, you know, and that's the outcome, just to know that you're doing something to help, not only the community, but worldwide.
Thank you.
Being on this panel empowered me and wanted me, it makes me want to do more. Listening to what the ladies do, and I feel like I'm doing nothing. And you know, it makes you want to do more. It makes you, you get closer with these people. Like I said, we're a family. I didn't meet Sharon face to face and Yvonne and everyone until yesterday. And it was like, when we saw each other, we've been knowing each other forever. We're always doing phone conferences and different things like that. But this panel and this board has given me, like I said, I want to do more. I want to just start something where it's for the masses. You know, right now we're just doing women of color and different things like that, but that's my outlook. I really want to do that. And when you were speaking of the depression, you know, all of us, I'm sure, has been diagnosed with depression. Looking at me and listening to me talk, you wouldn't be I mean, you would be like, oh, she's lying. But I'm diagnosed as severely depressed. But I choose not to show it. You know, although I am, because we have our moments, but I struggle with depression. So, like I said, this board has given me the empowerment to go out and want to do more. Because I'm like, oh, I can't, I can do that. I'm just going to do this a little bit.
Right.
I'm going to do this a little bit, you know, through my business and all this. But listen to the list of, you know, Dale, you know, everyone has done. It makes me say, okay, you're doing just a little bit. You need to do more. So my outlook, I want this to get bigger. And I want us to reach the masses.
Excellent. Thank you.
Being a part of this board to me, as I was thinking in terms of, I was already working with the Myositis Association and what I could do. But being with the women of color, I have to say it's like the month of February, Black History Month. That you set a time for women of color to actually provide information, unlike other organizations. I've worked with American Cancer and so forth, so on. So I'm saying that to say that in a positive way, that you've given us an avenue to express that women of color have been affected statistically. Although you see this room here is only a few. I've gone to some other sessions and it's loaded. So I'm just saying, hopefully next year, that we will have a full house to let them know that we heard, we bleed. And we are statistically higher. And statistics is having myositis.
Thank you.
I think that this panel as a whole has taught me a whole lot of things. Today I am now a support group leader for the areas of Virginia and Western Virginia and North Carolina, and just being part of the patient advisory board. But being 26, as we're both young, being 26 and as a single mother, and having to go through surgery after surgery and being, you know, through trial and error of medication, and just sitting there, laying there, waiting for a family member to come lift me up because I wasn't able to walk. And I had to kind of like reteach myself 2 years later because of the healing process. It taught me to pretty much look at the circle of life. The circle of life is in all areas of your life. So I chose to continue my education in becoming a health coach, becoming a better mother, building better relationships, and having a loving heart. This is what this panel has really taught me, and that's the area, and that's my positive outlook to inspiring and empowering to uplift the world.
Thank you.
My outlook for this panel, I've been just so inspired here. Like, my jaws were hurting. You know, I got fat cheeks. They already hurting from smiling so much this week. But I really and truly want to see us maybe have a conference outside of the conference where it's geared toward women of color that has not just myositis, but any invisible disease that want to show up, that may have lupus, that have similarities as ours, but we come together as women of color to support each other and to show different avenues of ourselves, age, or career, exercise, to get away that stigma of black women don't love water, you know, things like that. That's what I would love to see in the future of the myositis. You know, y'all can sponsor us. We can have our own, you know, black, you know, women of color conference. I would really love to see that come about in the future. And other than that, you know, just maybe more social media, because that targets more people in our age group, and it will teach young women to actually listen to their bodies.
Excellent. Thank you. Let's look over here.
And I would just like to say something too. There is a video with my name, Elisa Glass, on the myositis. If you can please go on YouTube to watch it and to like it. And the reason for that is that we have a pharmaceutical company, Corvus, that actually invested in making this video, and we would love some more support from our pharmaceutical companies to make more videos of all the topics that are going on here in myositis. So they're looking at the numbers to see if the numbers are going to go up. If you can write them a letter to kind of thank them and support them for how they're doing videos for our behalf. Professionally done, a great investment. So once again, my name is Elisa Glass. It is in YouTube under Myositis as well. If you can please watch it and like it, and hopefully we can get more of these pharmaceutical companies to invest on all of our stories and also to do some research.
Yeah. Can I have one more thing to share real quick?
I'm not gonna be long, but I had to write this. It was on my heart. I'm not Maya Angelou or anybody, but it was just heavily on my heart because I've been learning a whole lot, and all the way from Virginia to Minnesota, and I'm really excited. It goes like this. It says, push through your pain when life isn't the same. Push through your pain even when your disease is hard to explain. Push through, don't let myositis end. Push through, all myositis warriors must win. Push through when life feels like it's about to end. Push through with faith, let the fight begin. Push through the pain, tiredness, pain through my body. It's no pain, no gain. Push through the pain, look in the mirror, I have no shame. Push through, say I am glad to see another day. Push through, to be grateful is the way. Push through when the days feel long. Push through, laugh, smile, sing your song. Push through, myositis we have to defeat. Push through, let's be a team. Push through together, let's fight. Push through, let's be the light. And one more. Push through when there is no cure. Push through with love there is pure. Push, push, push. Push through the pain, you are loved, you are healed, and that there is a miracle that lies deep down inside of you. Thank you.
We'll get to questions in just 1 second. I just want to take this opportunity, because we are getting close on time, to genuinely, from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of TMA, to say thank you to each and every one of you. You know, I really, I'm excited. I've been coming to these conferences for 8 years now, and you know, like I said, this is the first of its kind for this type of panel, and I'm so excited that we have this, and I'm looking forward to seeing this grow exponentially and just continue to share your voice, your story, and help make a difference. Because honestly, so many women out there who look to you, you know, for guidance, for support, you know, because you've opened up and shared your story. So thank you so very much for that. Thank you. We'll take a couple questions now. I mean, I know that we're getting close on time, but we'll take a couple questions. Go ahead.
I have a question.
Okay.
I have a question but a statement. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I am in clinical research. We are Siri, thanking me. I'm in clinical research, and we are working on developing new drugs for myositis. And we work with pharmaceutical companies, and we partner with TMA. I'm with Roma Clinical. You see the yellow patient survey in your folders. And we partner with advocacy groups, just like you guys. So sharing your story, I take this information back to the pharma companies, and we work with the pharma companies, and we provide support for clinical trials, and we do the clinical trials in your homes. So it's hearing your stories that is so inspirational to me to take back when I run the projects with the big pharma companies. So I'm here to support you guys, but actually hearing the stories from you guys makes the difference to me. So thank you so much. You're very welcome. And we're all in it together, and we're going to find these new drugs to help find the cure eventually. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you have a question?
I just want to say thank you, ladies, for providing your information. My question is, do any of you all see a physician of African American descent? You do?
Yes.
Can I have that information?
I'm from New York, so you
Hopefully, he'll be able to, hopefully he may network with others.
Actually, it's a she.
She may network with others.
Right.
You know, that could possibly, I can reach out to, so I appreciate it that you.
But I will share with you, it was her chance. Okay, just so happened that she was Black African American. Okay, so it was not a planned thing,
right.
So it was there, and there is no difference in the treatment. Okay, and it was information that I actually brought to her, but it empowered her, and she's one of the people that actually diagnosed a nurse who was in the hospital who happened to have DM.
I just would like to have somebody
Absolutely.
more relatable. I completely understand your view perspective, but I think that there are sometimes different treatments for women of color versus other descent. So I appreciate it if you provide it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Nope. You guys are good? All right.
Do we have, directors, or if you don't have it? Well, we have listings also, just for all doctors on it.
Right. So, exactly. I would definitely, on myositis.org, check it out. LaDonna's always a great resource to reach out to, too. She kind of is at the main office and helps kind of connect you to whether it's doctors or support groups or whatever your need might be. So definitely, check that out and reach out to her. Yes.
Hi, first of all, I want to thank you ladies also. You've been very informative. I just want to ask a question, which I'm not sure if you know, I might have to ask you. I'm kind of confused because I go to a neurologist. I have IBM. I go to a neurologist, and I'm kind of confused of which is the best doctor, a neurologist as opposed to a rheumatologist for the myositis. This is what I'm not. Some people go to neurologists and go to rheumatologists. So I'm not sure what the answer to that is.
She's going to speak to that. Yeah. Go ahead, just push it up.
A neurologist and a rheumatologist can diagnose you. It really doesn't matter which one. They both are capable of diagnosing you. However, most people go to rheumatologists and neurologists because you do have some cognitive dysfunction. So that's where the neurologist comes in, and they do a lot of different tests, but they both can diagnose you. But it's best to go to, not just one, it's to go to both, because one can find out something that you got to do.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't know if you have ever looked at your CK levels and stuff like that. The rheumatologist normally is in control of that. The neurologist in my case was like vestibular in the brain.
Yeah. All right. Also,
dermatologist as well. It's important to which one it is.
IBM. She has IBM. Yeah. If you could please do us a favor, make sure you fill out your session evaluation. There's a basket in the back. If you could drop it off there, we would truly appreciate it for our future conferences. So enjoy the rest of your day, you guys, and thank you so much. Thank you.